G'day everyone and welcome to my second video on the Glock 9 5x5 challenge, where this is the state of my base after a 565 game stage Horde Night with 64 zombies on insane difficulty. It was the goal of the last video to do this challenge with no guns, and since that didn't go as planned, I've gone back to the drawing board and come up with a new base design that uses traps and a crap ton of forged steel to defeat the Horde, with the occasional club to the head just for giggles. Starting off with the design and walkthrough, you can see it's a pretty bland looking rectangle for the most part, but in the words of Han Solo, she may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts, kid. Looks aside, you can see that there's 5 blocks across the base at the front, and 2 ladders going up to make sure that there's no chance that the zombies get blocked or destroy a ladder and get stuck from the ability to go up. Whilst they're going up, they're going to get hit from the dart traps from above, and as soon as they're off the ladder, they're going to get hit by the first blade trap. On the second step out, they'll get hit by the bottom one, and moving forward to attack, they'll then get hit in the head by the third blade trap. There's also a shotgun turret there, and 2 more on the side, as well as 2 dart traps directly over where the zombies are going to stand to attack. So pretty much at any time they're up on this platform, they're going to be getting hit by multiple vectors, blade traps, dart traps, and shotgun turrets. They also may fall off to the side from the pressure from all of the zombies, in which case they'll have to run around and start it all over again. Down the side, still got 5 blocks, so we're within the 5x5 parameters of the challenge, except for this temporary ladder, which is our access into the base. Through the bolt door, we can then take down the ladder to make sure that we don't break the conditions of the challenge. There we go. And here's where we fight the Horde. We've got a corner piece to stop them coming around the edge. We've got our generator, a light switch controlling the dart traps, and we can also reload the turrets if we need to through those gaps. There's the blade traps on. See them operating directly off the generator, so they're always on. We've also got the dart traps off the switch so that we can turn them on and off as needed. We can turn them off again for now. And off. For the Horde Night itself, we'll probably come stand over here for the most part and give the zombies a little bit of a touch up with the club when they need it. And if we turn on God mode, we can fly up to the roof and see we've got very little up here apart from a single SMG turret to kill any vultures that might come flying in. And that's our base. Alright, let's get into Horde Night, shall we? First up, let's have a look at our game stage, which is 565. Quick flick through our skills. We don't have much selected, just some Pummel Pete at level 3 and Dinosaur at level 3 as well to give us lots of stamina in case we need it. Everything else is fairly standard. We've got some points in machine gun and shotgun, but we're not going to be using them this run. At least we won't be if it all goes to plan. From there, let's have a quick look at our inventory. We've got a whole bunch of repair materials in case we need them, a hell of a lot of forged steel because we're going to need that, and a bunch of shotgun shells in case we need to reload the turrets. Get our club ready, and then we might just pop out and get all set up for when Horde Night starts. And here's Horde Night. Let's just wait a second for the first zombies to come in, and then we'll go reattach the camera and turn on our blade traps, which includes the shotgun turrets and the SMG on top. First couple are taken care of. Just keep an eye on their early damage with the nail gun, and maybe also switch over for a few melee hits while the damage is fairly low. With the demo around range, they tend to do some solid hits on steel, so we'll just keep an eye on things. Also, as the number of zombies coming in ramps up, well, there we go, down 6 to 6,000 on both of those blocks. As the number of zombies increases, the amount of damage the blade traps take will obviously ramp up as well, so we need to keep an eye on those just to make sure they don't get too low, obviously, because then they stop doing damage to the zombies, but also it puts them at risk of being destroyed should we get a cop or a demo blow up on us. And given that we're locked in this little defensive fortification, we have no way of replacing those. And placing those blocks, there'll just be too many bodies, too many zombies in the way, even if we could line it up to place the new blade trap down. So as you can see, this is for this challenge, 5x5 and not using any guns. We just pretty much sit here, repair when we can or when we need to, melee when we can. Oh, that sounded like a cop block. No. Thankfully he was off to the side and not at the front where the ladders are. If we get any explosions down below those ladders, we'll be in trouble, because that'll remove the ability of the zombies to come up to us, and they'll just smash through the bottom of the base and bring it all down. The selection of, I've got the barbed wire and the flames on the club here, that might have been a mistake. For the bleed damage and the fire damage, could be taking the cops down to where they want to blow up, but while they're outside the range of the traps, we're not going to obviously be able to finish them off before they explode. So that might be a tactic that we have to refine if we have to do another go at this one. Otherwise, going fairly smoothly so far. What is it? An hour in? No significant issues so far. Obviously, still going through the forge steel. That is one thing that will happen. Sort of trading off ripping through bullets for ripping through repair mats. You can kind of go either way depending on how you want to play it. Certainly getting our fair share of demos. Oh, that was down to 500. And someone got a bit of a hit in on us. That's not too bad. Is that 3 demos? Don't know whether we're getting lots or whether they're just getting knocked off from time to time and then running back up the ladders. And that's why it looks like there's a lot. Otherwise, this is pretty much just rinse and repeat. Cruise around looking for things to repair, particularly when there's demos out and I don't want to risk an accidental explosion. Let the traps take care of them and just repair the blocks. That one was almost gone, that would have been bad. Keep the traps going. Feels like we're got a solid number of zombies coming through at the moment. Shotgun turrets are working well. I haven't heard much SMG fire from up top, so I don't know whether we're not getting vultures, or whether I just can't hear it over the shotguns and the blade traps. Somebody else just went boom and set off another boom. So that's 2 explosions down there. Again, hopefully that hasn't done too much damage that's going to cause pathing issues for us, either going under the base. We'll find out at the end though. It shouldn't have done much to the steel, and there's enough steel blocks that we can afford to lose a couple on the base down below without causing us any serious dramas. Keep the shotguns up and running. And it's certainly getting busy now. It's one thing that we want to avoid, is having too many zombies piling on top of each other and hitting blocks that we don't want. In particular, the row of steel blocks on top of the dart traps in the ceiling is something that I had to add, because the double high zombies, when they're standing on each other, would try and go over the roof and tunnel down rather than just staying where they belong. You could avoid that obviously by also just raising the dart traps up a little bit higher as well. Do the same thing. I don't know whether this is, again, a base design that I'd want to use in game. It's a bit too easy, dare I say it. I'll probably just jinx myself, but It's more exciting obviously when you're engaging the zombies, so I don't know that I'd run with this in game, but it's certainly a bit of fun just to prove whether or not we can do it without shooting at them. Also don't know whether or not I'd have enough forged steel to keep repairing in game. It's also not a structure that I think lends itself well to shooting at the zombies. There's a lot of chaotic movement, hard to line up headshots, not a lot of stacking. If you want to use armor piercing rounds, and you've also got the vulnerable blade traps directly behind where you're shooting, so none of that really speaks well to a base for actual combat, but for just kicking back and repairing, hopefully, and doing it this way, it should do the job. Now, we've got a few hits so far, so after repairing these, I might just bandage up. And that'll keep us good for a little while longer. Don't want to accidentally get a bit too low. Should we cop a few more lucky hits from someone? Things seem to be a little lighter now in terms of number of zombies, which is nice. Hopefully that's not a case where they're all stuck below and tunneling, but I don't think so. They all seem to be coming up. I swear most of the time when I swing I miss. Now I just heard some dogs, and it occurs to me that this base design does not cater for dogs at all. So they don't run up ladders, and they're going to be stuck down the bottom the whole time. So hopefully they don't do much damage to the steel blocks. I think there's enough in the base support structure that they can't bring it all down on us, but I guess we're going to find out by the end of the Horde Night whether we need to make any modifications to somehow shoot or deal with dogs. I don't think there's any way that we can convince them to come up, not in the 5x5 grid that we're working in, without going back to a sort of ramp structure that I tried in my last video. So I'm an idiot, and I haven't had the dart traps on the whole time. That's going to make a difference. And hopefully if the dogs cooperate and stand at the bottom of the ladders, they might get shot as well. But you'll see now, this should actually slow down the number of zombies coming up significantly, because they're going to be getting hit in the head the whole time they're coming up those ladders. And then once they're here and standing, I can swing at them, but every time I swing they're going to die from the shotguns, blade traps and dart traps now that are actually being used. Running it at the end of the night obviously also has some benefit in that you are not going to run out, but there was that hectic period with multiple demos running around, which would have been really good to run some dart traps with. Probably the silver lining of this is that it has shown that we probably could have made it the whole night through without running the dart traps. This will just speed up the kill rate and also reduce the amount of repairs that we have to do, because they'll either be dying before they get up here or very quickly once they do. So you're trading off materials used to create lots of darts for forged steel used in repairs. It'd be tough to do an analysis as to which one uses more mats, but that might be something interesting to look at some point. So yeah, as you can see, that's really quieted things down, he says, as it gets a little busier, but I think these dart traps will mean that we can mostly just sit back and air swing. Hey, we got a hit in. So you can see we got a lot of quiet time and random zombies exploding from the floor. Don't know what happened there. Otherwise, it even lessens the amount of repair we need to do on the blade trap because they're not hitting as much because the dart traps are hitting them on the way up. You also seem to not be getting as many demos now. So, hour and 40 to go in game. And so far so good. Just gotta hold out a bit longer and hope those dogs don't bring the base down around us. Should be sitting pretty otherwise. Getting more of just sort of your normal zombies now, less radiateds and less demos. Did notice right at the beginning we got a few spiders, and you would have hopefully seen that the blade trap at the bottom takes care of them nicely. Often they run under a lot of blade trap setups that both I and other people run. But having that extra blade trap at ground level certainly helps taking care of the spiders when they're not jumping. Oh, I can hear those dogs now. Leave me alone, doggies. Oh, now. Oh no, shotgun turrets are still going. I thought that stopped for a minute. Blade traps are holding up. Something looked like it was at 700. Where was that? Don't know. Coming up on 3 o'clock, 1 hour to go. And still everything fairly cruisy. Certainly feels like that first wave was the hardest one. Hopefully, again, that doesn't mean that we suddenly get a big barrage now at the end, but I think we're through through the worst of it. Also, for those looking at the XP tickovers, because we're only on level 3 on the engineering, I think we're only getting 15% XP. If you're interested in using a trap base on Horde Nights, I do recommend getting that up a lot higher so that you're getting the full 50%, I think it is at max level. And there goes our dart traps. Lucky shot from a cop has destroyed our switch, and because we can't see the blade traps, we're not going to be able to rewire those. It's a good thing we know that they're not absolutely essential. Oh, and the shotgun turret is out of ammo. It's all falling apart with 30 minutes to go, but hopefully we can still get there with just the blade traps and the shotgun turrets. Might be the placement of that switch might be something that we need to look at, moving up higher so that it's not a target for the cops, or just hardwiring all of the blade traps in. The dart traps. I think there was too many for it to come directly off the generator. It would have to go off a relay, maybe one on the roof with some blocks or plates around it to protect it. Might be the way to go instead. You do then trade off the ability to turn the dart traps on and off if you were trying to conserve ammo and just run them when they were absolutely needed. Last few minutes. Make sure we don't lose a block right at the end, that would be embarrassing. And there we go. Horde Night complete. Lots of repairing, but no guns. And then a smack in the face just for good measure. And of course, some dogs down the bottom that we're eventually going to have to pop outside and deal with. But given that's all over and we're elevated, you know, we can probably just drop some Molotovs on those if there's many left, but we'll deal with that afterwards. Just finish off these last few and we should be good to go. There we are. Last couple. Giddy up. Alright, let's have a look at how much damage they did. You can sort of see straight away they've been wailing on some of these blocks. In particular, those two for some reason. The ladder's not looking... Oh, there we go. That one's certainly taken a beating. If that one had gone, the second side would be okay, but that one's almost gone and that one is gone. So, as long as there's not two side by side that both got destroyed, which would have broken the pathing, we would have been okay. We've also got the pit here where the cops and demos blew up, and the back side of the base here is where the dogs were hanging out. We've lost a few blocks, but nothing that's going to bring down the base. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed my gun-free second attempt at the 5x5 challenge. Please drop any thoughts or feedback on this video in the comments below, and thanks to Glock9 for putting this challenge out there. It's been great fun these last couple of videos.